Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day. In yesterday's video, we talked about getting the paddle moving. So in this video, what we're going to do is get the ball moving. So our goal is going to be to have this ball start at the paddle and then bounce off of each of the walls and then around. And hopefully, if we move our paddle well enough, it will bounce off of the paddle as well and we'll be able to keep the ball in play. To be able to start this off though, we're actually going to need another timer. Our paddle timer and our ball timer are going to run independently of each other, which means not at the same time. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go create another timer. So go ahead and double click over here. And this timer, I'm going to call ball timer. Okay, so I've got a ball, I've got a ball timer. I am going to lower the interval just so that it happens a little quicker, or else it's going to feel a little sluggish. And there we go. Enabled is going to be false because we don't want the ball to start off by moving. And just like yesterday's yesterday's video, we are going to start off by creating some variables. So just like over here, we wanted the paddle to move up and down, or sorry, left and right. We're going to do the same with the ball, except not just left and right. Our plan is to have the ball pretty much always going diagonal, which means there's going to be a left and a right component. Sorry, a left and right and an up and down component, vertical and horizontal. So because we can control them separately, I can, for example, have the ball going this way, still going up and then bounce off the wall and continue going up, but have it flip the direction it goes horizontally. So we're going to have two Boolean for this one. This one's going to be for the ball. And you know what? I should add in a label for this stuff is the paddle stuff. All right, ball stuff. We're going to need two variables. I'm going to say private bool, not paddle file. I wonder why I said file. Oh, it probably thinks dir is short for directory. Interesting. All right, ball, dir, and then there's going to be a v. And then I'm going to have ball, dir, h. The v standing for vertical and the h standing for horizontal. I'm going to put a little note in here that says, well, we'll just keep these in mind. The h is going to be the same as this, where true means to the right and false means to the left. While with ball, dir, v, that's vertical, we're going to have true mean up, which actually means we're going to be going in the negative y direction, and false is going to mean down. Okay, here we go. Let's create our ball timer's tick event by double-clicking that, and now we pretty much shouldn't have to leave this code the whole video, I think, until we test it. All right, so first of all, we'll have in key press. I'm thinking I kind of want the ball to follow the paddle until we actually start it. So let's add another variable for the ball. I'm going to say, actually, we're going to put this a little below this. It is still ball related, but it's going to be private, bool, and it's going to be game start. Game start is going to start off as false, and that means is the ball supposed to be moving? Is the game being played? And currently it's false. I'm going to say inside Q, I'm going to say if, a little if statement inside of the if for Q, and I'm actually going to use the same one over here. I'm going to say if game start is not the thing. Remember, the exclamation point means not. So if game start is not true, then we actually want the ball dot location to be a new point, and we want to set the ball's location to the paddle's x. Paddle dot location dot x. We're going to run into a small problem here, but we'll fix it in a second. We want to keep the y the same though, so the ball location y. Okay, now let's see what that does. So right now the game start is off, so let's go ahead and see what that does. When I hit Q, it should move the ball with my paddle. And we see it does to a point. It's a little slow, one, and it only I guess it will follow like that, but it will only do Q. Okay, so let's see why it's only doing Q. Well, that makes sense, of course. It's because we have it over here. Okay, let's put it in E as well. So now it should move for both. I'm curious why it's lagging. I may have to look into that a little bit, but the other issue is that it's moving to the left part. We kind of want it in the middle. Okay? So let's try that. I'm going to set it more to the middle. Well, how wide is our paddle itself? So right now, the location that we're sending it to is this upper left corner. I want it to be in the middle, so I'm going to actually figure out how wide my paddle is. Why are you doing this? Click on this, please. Properties. There we go. The width of my paddle, we'll see, where is size? There it is 90. So if I want the ball to be about halfway over, I'm going to say paddle.location.x plus 45, because that's about half of 90. Well, it's not about half. It is half of 90. All right, let's see what this looks like. And we're doing a little bit of guess and check here. There's no reason to be particularly precise. It just might look a little weird if we don't. Oh, it's lagging so much. I'm curious as to why it is doing that. Okay, let's try and think through this. If I hit Q, aha. So, we do not want this in here. I hope you didn't follow along typing with me. You should always follow along typing with me, but I don't actually want this in here. What I want it in is here, where our paddle is actually moving. Right. So if paddle dir, then the paddle's location should be the ball's location, or the ball's location should be the paddle's location. And I'm going to do that as well down here. Now I bet it's going to work. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, I'll feel a little silly. But I feel a little silly a lot. So there we go. All right. It feels like it's slow, but it is moving with the paddle. Okay, cool. So we'll say that. All right. And now, how do we actually get the game to start moving? Well, we're going to add in another key press. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add in, let's say, if e.keychar. We want to have something make the game actually start. So I'm going to have it happen when I hit the space button. And yes, it looks a little silly, but I do actually have a space in here, and that's what the computer's looking for me to type in. When we hit the space, we are not only going to change game start to true, but we are also going to start our ball timer. All right. And then the fun begins. So what we're going to do is, in our ball timer, we're going to say if ball dir, we'll do H first. If ball dir H, which means ball dir H is true, then we want the ball to move in to the right. Okay, so I'm actually going to steal my code for the paddle moving to the right and paste it in here. And then I'm just going to change the word paddle to ball. All right, ball and ball. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the else, which means if ball dir H is not true. I'm going to put that in here, except instead of moving to the right, we're going to move to the left. Okay, that takes care of the horizontal movement. Let's add in something for the vertical movement. I'm actually going to just copy paste this whole code, paste it, and then change this to V. Okay, and now instead of messing with X, I'm going to mess with Y. So let's get rid of the X stuff. and then y. We got to remember, though, that balder v is controlling up and down. And when it's true, like it is up here, we want it to move up. And up actually happens when y gets subtracted from. All right. So down here, this is going to be plus y. Honestly, if you, sorry, not plus y, plus 5. If you forget that, just test it out, see if it works, and if it doesn't, all right, we'll just do something else. All right, let's start it off. So theoretically, if I move, ball should follow me. If I hit space, it should start moving. And goes through the walls. Okay, so it seems like we're going to need to do something about that. Let's create a ball collision function. I'm going to do that below my ball timer. You could do it above. Honestly, the order doesn't matter, but you should still do it that way. All right, I'm going to say private void, and then this is going to be my ball collision. So we've got the paddle collision, now we've got the ball collision. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to steal some of my code from over here. I'm going to say, wow, that's actually kind of perfect. It's going to be slightly different, though. So I'm going to steal this first line here. And then, oops, not that. This. All right. And then I'm going to make this line up just because I think it looks better. All right. So instead of this saying paddle, we're going to have it say ball. So if ball.bounds.intersects with side 1, then I want to make it so balder h goes the other way. So balder h equals not balder h. So whatever balder h was, it's going to flip to the other. If it's true, it's going to become false, and if it's false, it's going to become true. Which means we're actually going to use the same code for side 2. And so why don't I just include that in here with an OR. I'll paste it in there and say 2. Oops. All right, I'm going to zoom out for a quick sec so that you guys might be able to see this whole line all at once. And then I'm going to pause so that you guys can type it in. All right, unpause. All right, so now we need one for hitting the top wall and the paddle. So I'm going to say, heck, let's just steal the whole thing again. Remember, a fast programmer has nothing to do with how quick they type. All right, this one's going to be about V. And then this one, instead of side 1, we're going to have paddle. And we're going to have our top wall, which I called top wall. You might have called it something else. So now if it hits paddle or if it hits top wall, it's going to switch the vertical part. Let's see what this looks like in practice. Okay, I'm going to hit space to start the game. It's going to go through. I know it's a little laggy with both timers going, and nothing happened. Okay, the first time I did this, when I did this in the last video about paddle collision, it was a bit of a joke because I realized I was making a mistake as I went through it. This time I actually forgot. Can't tell you how many times you type something out with all the best intentions and then test it and it doesn't work, and you have to realize that you didn't actually use the thing you just created. Okay. And bounce. Good. Let's see if it bounces off the top wall. Bounce. And bounce, and let's see if it bounces off the paddle. Oh my gosh, it's moving so slow. There, it bounces. Okay, good. Where we're at, we now really just need to add in a little bit of functionality for the blocks to come in. So that's going to be in our next video. So please stay tuned.